We have got John Cena on the line. John, how you doing today? John.
Hello.
Hello, John. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I can barely hear you.
Okay. Al, get our voice up. Okay. We of course had John Cena prototype on a couple weeks ago in an abbreviated segment. Did really, really good. And how in the last month, any big changes in your career, or just kind of going to the school, doing the matches when called upon? I know that you did a dark match in Oakland that I saw just a week ago, actually.
Yeah, that was just recently.
Yeah.
With Aaron Aguilera.
Right. Yeah, that was a good match too. Aaron Aguilera did a good job there.
Yeah, he did very well. I thought it went, for the most part, I thought it went pretty good. We actually got some positive feedback for the first time in the 3 times that I've been out there. So it was just good to hear from the guys and good to hear that some of them liked it, so it was good.
What's your feelings as far as being backstage at SmackDown last week in Oakland? And did a lot of people come up and talk to you? And
everybody back there is extremely nice, whether they know you or they don't know you. It's honestly one big family atmosphere back there. I mean, I know some of the guys. I don't know a lot of the guys, but everyone says hello. Everyone, has always got a smile on their face. It's always a good atmosphere back there.
What did anyone ask you for diet tips?
No, not really. I mean, they're pretty much all set with the show, especially, when it's a SmackDown or a Raw like that, where it's a live atmosphere or a TV atmosphere. They're already pretty much focused on what they're doing.
And how's the buffet?
Catering is actually great. There's no way that the 3 times that I've been there has been unbelievable food.
It's just piles of chicken breasts or something like that?
Chicken breasts. They always have some sort of steamed vegetable, steamed rice. They have like a prime rib. But they also have food if, they have like pasta, and they have various dishes. They always have some sort of ice cream cards. So, you can eat good or you can eat bad.
Do most of the guys eat good? I bet Paul Bearer wasn't eating good for a while.
Pretty much everybody I've seen's got, pretty much got their stuff all together. Everybody knows, to eat chicken breasts and, to stay away from the junk food. So everybody pretty much eats good. And I think it shows with it, the WWF, the physiques now they're not as giant and muscle-bound as they were, but they're a lot more in shape.
That's a big difference in wrestlers today as opposed to, I would say, 15 years ago, and certainly, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Was a lot of the guys when I was a kid at wrestling, a lot of them lifted weights, but I don't know that any of them, watched their diet the way the guys do now. And and a lot of them were, back then were on steroids too, but you didn't, you never, the wrestlers were all going, we'd have these big, bulky guys.
Yeah.
They would go to the buffet. They would eat whatever they wanted. None of them were svelte. You didn't have, hardly. I don't think you had any what I would call small waists in wrestling. The whole idea.
It was less of it was more of like a superhuman look and less of an athletic look.
Yeah, it was almost like there was a thing of like the wrestler, like a body that today would not be considered a good body.
No.
Was considered a good wrestler body. Kind of like the Strangler Lewis look, where you're kind of like really round and thick and burly.
Yeah.
And, powerful as hell, but there's no emphasis on having like a small waist.
No, but today the guys look a lot more athletic, and that's across the board. It doesn't matter who you're watching. Any sort of wrestler nowadays, they're looking for more of it's almost more of like a real persona. People can relate with somebody who's a little bit fit looking as opposed to jacked to the gills, like the Warrior or the Warlord or guys like that.
Plus, the style today is totally different. Someone with that body from 15 or 25 years ago trying to work today's style.
Exactly. There's the moves are a lot more risky and everything's a lot more athletic. So, a lot of those guys, when they get that big, they have trouble getting out of their own way.
Yeah, well, a guy like Warlord, in today, I don't think he could make it today just because, even by the style of what they were doing back then, he wasn't really very mobile. And now, if you're not mobile, they really don't want you around.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be able to put on a show. You got to be able to entertain. It's not just a look anymore.
Now, you're starting, basically starting out your career and everything, and you have a couple of things going for you, and obviously the physique is one of them. Another one is that, I noticed it when I saw you wrestle in Los Angeles, and people had brought it up to me before, is that you've got really great leaping ability. And
you know what? I don't know how I got the set of frog legs that I got, but as a matter of fact, I have a 34-inch vertical. I can dunk a basketball just standing under the hoop. I've always been a jumper. I remember when I was in 7th grade, the first thing I wanted to do was dunk a basketball. And by the time I was in 8th grade, I was dunking a basketball. What I try to do with my wrestling, I'm not as much of a spot junkie as everybody else, but the moves that I do, I try to emphasize like vertical and horizontal leaping power. I can jump across the ring and I can jump over anybody's head. So there are a few moves that I try to do to fit that in. So the fans will see a bigger, athletic-looking guy and then see him leap and be like, ooh, ah. So that's a small bit of entertainment I try to bring to the table.
Yeah, because the one thing I can see with you as far as like future and everything is like when people see someone who looks like you, and you know it's the jumping kind of like blows them away because and you know I've seen guys that have you know giant legs and everything that can also jump to the moon, but you just don't expect it. If you know what I mean.
Exactly, it catches you off guard. Like just recently with that dark match with Aaron, we did just a really brief spot in the beginning where he cut me off and then turned me around. And I just gave him a giant leapfrog, and we got a pop for the leapfrog because he's 6'4" and I skied over his head, and just everybody wasn't expecting it. So I mean, it's just something simple like that. You know, a leapfrog is a basic move, but to see a guy you wouldn't think do something like that do it is a way to just entertain the people.
How would you describe training as far as training for bodybuilding and training for professional wrestling, as far as like the weights and the workout routine and everything like that? Because you've maintained what's I guess would be pretty close to a competition bodybuilder physique. You know, maybe I mean,
I've
you're
actually had to tone it down, believe it or not. I was about 265 when I started, and the WWF has kind of put a governor on me at around 245. So I've had to lose about 25 pounds or 20 pounds. The training, I keep the training the same. I just manipulate my diet a lot. You know, I'm eating a lot less. I have a lot less freedom in what I eat. I really have to crack down on, on watching what I eat. Or if I do eat bad, I gotta make sure I'm doing my cardio to stay in an athletic type shape. Because I mean, they want me at a certain build where I can move, and I feel much better at this weight. I can move a lot better. I feel a lot healthier. So I mean, it's a lot easier for me.
What now? Are you still eating pretty much 8-10 meals a day?
Yeah, it's just instead of let's say 750 calories a meal, it's down to anywhere from 200 to 400 calories a meal.
Oh, really? So you're not even eating like truckloads of food anymore?
No, the base is the same. It's just the portions are smaller. I mean, like I was eating steak and eggs before, and steak and eggs now is just at a smaller scale.
Do you have a problem like losing too much weight because you're doing all the cardio, just training and everything?
Well, the good thing about losing weight is you can always gain it back. The tough thing about gaining weight is it's tough to lose. So I keep a good monitor. I mean, there are weeks where people will be like, "Oh man, are you sick? You're losing a lot of weight." That's when I know I'm training a little bit too hard, maybe doing a little bit too much. So I'll go out and enjoy myself, have some food, maybe take the day off. But as far as that goes, as long as you look lean, and it's not that the more weight you lose, you look leaner, but I mean, in a sense, you just keep looking in the mirror, stepping on the scale, and getting a good gauge of where you're at.
Just want to mention as far as our ratings for the weekend that we didn't get into, Livewire did a 1.3, which is, I think, the best number that show has done since it switched to TNN. Superstars did an 0.9, which is pretty low, although not its lowest, and Heat did a 2.2, so I don't know what that really says. That's just a number. And the poll, what did you think of Monday Night's Wrestling? As we said, for the first time, do you remember the last time that Nitro won one of these?
No, actually,
Brian?
I really don't.
I know it did around April, that there was a couple weeks where Nitro won, but I don't think it's probably since April or May.
Maybe like that first show that Bischoff and Russo came back.
A few of those shows when they came back won out. I think maybe two of them. Mm-hmm. But anyway, 42% Nitro was better, 34% Raw was better, 1% didn't watch Raw, 16% didn't watch Nitro, 7% didn't watch either show. So at least among our listenership, people were very curious about WCW because usually those numbers as far as not watching for WCW are usually a lot higher. So I mean, that's certainly a positive for WCW right there. John, we talked about the last time you were on the show that you kind of got into the bodybuilding the same way probably everyone did. You were kind of went to the gym because you didn't not get picked on, I guess, and then just I guess kind of fell in love with it. Is that what happened there?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I started at a very young age. Some kid was picking on me when I was 11 or 12 years old, and I started then. And I kept at it until I was about 15, and then at freshman football tryouts, we had like a little strength combine, and I was easily the strongest kid there because I was the only kid who'd been training. and I found then that in football, the stronger you are, the better you are. So it just totally took off from there.
Now, after football, you played college football.
Yep.
And then you went to Southern California, ostensibly at first to be a professional bodybuilder, you told me.
Yeah, I mean, I had realized that I was a little bit out of my league, but I knew that there were minimal spots on the natural circuit, and I looked at the competition naturally, and I thought I could definitely give it a good go. But, you know, there's really not that much of a career in it. You really, really have to love the sport in order to pursue natural bodybuilding.
It's mostly just like getting sponsorships, right?
What's that?
It's mostly just getting sponsorships?
Yeah, for the most part, and because the other guys are so big, it's just so tough to get sponsorships.
Yeah.
So now, as far as, I mean, when you went down there, I mean, you pretty much knew the score as far as the drug scene and everything like that in the bodybuilding world.
Yeah.
I mean, was there ever the temptation of going like, you know, look, I've done this, I've gotten to this level with this, I'm gonna go for it, or was it one of those things where you had a thing in your head where I'm not gonna play that game, and I can't play that game?
Here's the thing. I mean, you see guys walking around that are like 280 pounds and ripped or whatever, and it is phenomenal to see that. And you always wonder in the back of your head, you know, how big could I be if I'm this good already? How far could I take it if I actually use drugs? But then on the same token, what's kept me away from that stuff is I'm only 23. I'm not there with those guys, but I'm dangerously close without that stuff. So if I could possibly, you know, keep training hard and watching my diet with a little bit of more muscle maturity, I may not be able to be side by side with those guys, but I most likely could be in a situation where I could compete with those guys without even using any of that stuff, and that would be truly a phenomenon.
Now, as far as the professional wrestling world goes, from a physique standpoint, you probably have do you consider it a genetic advantage, or is it just that you train harder or diet more? But whatever it is,
honestly, at this point, I really just think it's muscle maturity. Like it's the guys nowadays. I mean, the guys you see on TV, they all look good. They all look very good, especially some of the top guys. But at my age, I have a little bit of an advantage just because I've been training for 11 years now, and that's just at 23. You don't find many people who have been training for that long. So I have a different look than everyone else. I look bigger because my muscles look more mature, just because they've been through that many workouts. I mean, I'm sure there are people at my age that train just as hard, maybe even harder. I mean, I do whatever I can, but I'm sure there's a guy out there training harder than I am. That's always the situation. It's just the fact that I have that much of advantage.
The one thing I think that you have, though, as far as a genetic thing, is that you have, I don't know if your small joints jointed, but you have like body parts that are small that make the body parts that are big look, from an illusion standpoint, really big, like from a small waist. And I don't know about
that's always been one thing. My legs have always been pretty out there. My triceps have always been pretty freaky. So it's just good. It's good to have those like freaky body parts, like you said, that the people really clue into those. Like, and I've been blessed with. I don't know how the hell I got it, but I have really thin skin, so I do get a lot of like freakish type veins. And that's another thing for people to see, because they usually don't see that all the time. So that's something that makes somebody else stand out. So
you think part of it is maybe metabolism just not slowing down yet?
What's that?
You think part of it's your metabolism hasn't slowed down yet, as far as just staying lean?
That I do know, but honestly, I've been manipulating my diet so long that I'm prepared for when my metabolism does slow down, and it'll just take a few modifications. I definitely am comfortable with my look right now, and I can keep it for as long as I need to.
Oh, you'll be able to keep, with the physique you have, you'll be able to keep it well. I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, easily to 40, I would think. And I mean, like after that, you're not going to be able to keep the size, but you can keep the definition even well into your 40s.
Yeah.
Especially if you didn't mess with drugs too much when you're young.
No, I mean, not at all so far, so.
Yeah, so those guys may have problems if they're, did a lot of drugs when they're young, and then their body kind of relies on them, and then when they're older, they don't do the drugs. They start, but I mean, I think that if you're natural, I mean, people who I've known that have been natural for life, and that have gone side by side with the guys that have done drugs, when they get into 35 and 40, they really don't lose that much as long as they train hard and diet still.
Exactly, as long as they don't let it go to nothing.
Yeah. Now, actually switching to wrestling and everything, you got any kind of what are your goals for the year 2001 as far as wrestling goes? As far as improvements, where are you looking for improvements, and do you have a timetable of getting to the WWF or going somewhere before the WWF or something like that?
Well, the timetable thing is always weird because you never know. I mean, the only opportunity I have to make it in the WWF is if they have a spot that I can fill, But this is pretty bold in saying this, but I was always taught to shoot my goals high. I would like to see myself on TV by the end of 2001. I know that I need work. I know that there's still a lot to learn, but I believe that I'm getting to the point where I could learn a lot more from more experienced guys. UPW in general is generally mostly a lot of new guys, aside from the fact that like Chris Daniels, Mikey Henderson, Kevin Quinn, maybe a handful of others, but we're mostly all in the same boat. I think if I could get on the road with the more experienced guys and just learn the little things that I need to do, I think that would help me by leaps and bounds. So if I can get there, I would definitely learn a lot more, and I'm definitely going to try to push for it by the end of the year.
Have they talked to you recently about maybe going to Ohio Valley or Memphis?
Right now, it seems like UPW is pretty much going to try to be the West Coast developmental side of the WWF. So it's like they may want to move me, but in the same sense, it may be a waste of time because we're really trying to push them to be that West Coast developmental site. So until that all blows over, whether we get it or we don't, and I have no idea when that'll happen, I'll pretty much stay here.
I mean, have you, as far as like talked with people regarding? I mean, is WWF, what kind of feedback from Oakland did they come up and give you after your match?
The feedback was really good. We got some criticism. They said I need to work on my selling a little bit, and they had said a few of the moves could have been shifted around and made a little bit more sense. But aside from that, like the general overview of the match was really good. They thought the story fell together really good. But then again, it's just only one match, and you're only good as your last one. So the next time I go out there, if I do good, hopefully it'll open some more eyes and we'll get some more positive feedback.
Do you have any goal as far as in the ring? Certain things that you're looking for. I know you study tapes of your own matches, and unlike a lot of wrestlers, you're a pretty big critic of yourself. I mean, I noted from talking to you in the last show. And I mean, you're not someone. I mean, there are guys who will be at your level, and especially a lot of the bodybuilder types. Will almost have that attitude that because I have a better body than this guy, and this guy, I deserve this spot. And your thing, you're looking at your match and going like, hey,
No, I'll be the first to say I was signed because of my look and my body, not my wrestling. I look at the matches leading up to the signing, and I still pray to God, thank you every day that they signed me because I didn't have one good match by the time I was signed. But like I said, I mean, I know that I'm new, and I know there's a hell of a lot to learn in this business, and I'm basically trying to take a crash course. And I have a bunch of good instructors behind me. We got a bunch of great students that are willing to work. If I want to try something out, I got 10 or 20 guys that'll work with me. It seems like everybody's on the team. Everybody wants to see everybody else succeed. So it's just, I mean, I am the worst critic of myself, and right now I'm not to the level where I should be. But there's only so much you can take in. There's only so much you can learn. I'm trying to do it all.
Let's go to Phil in D.C. Phil, you're first up with John Cena.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Really good.
I just wanted to tell you guys we finally finished our WCW ballot after months and months and months.
Oh, best match of the decade.
We got the results out.
Oh, what were they?
So, okay. Mysterio Jr. and Eddie Guerrero from Hollywood Havoc won.
Good pick.
With a real close. I mean, that got a total of 1,646 votes. The votes were like, with number one votes getting more. And it was only 10 more votes than Benoit Bret Hart from Nitro, which finished second.
Huh.
Very different kind of match. I would go with Mysterio and Guerrero of those two.
I put Benoit Bret Hart first. I don't know, just something about the match being like the last great American wrestling match, in the sense that we might never see a match like that again.
Well, we could if the right guys. If they put the two right guys together and gave them 30 minutes, you could. It's not like there aren't guys out there who can do it. It's just that
but that style, though, I mean, the kind of Bret Hart. I mean, that was in a lot of ways, a synthesis match with a lot of '80s style wrestling that Bret Hart brought into it. I think, you might see a long match like that, but it might not be that style.
Yeah.
At least my thought. And also just, I thought the whole stuff with the counters at the end was so cool. And the way they kept countering out of each other's finishers.
Oh, I loved both those matches, so.
Yeah. I did, yeah. Rey Mysterio Eddie was fourth on my list. Just because, I don't know, I think maybe I knew everybody else was going to vote it so high. Psychosis Rey Mysterio Jr. at Bash at the Beach was third.
Wow.
Seems a little high.
I mean, that was a phenomenal match. I'm just, what's so surprising?
Like a lot of those Ray and Eddie and everything, they all kind of blend together to me.
That Psychosis match was really awesome. The thing with
I thought that was better than anything they did in ECW. There was some talk, there was some discussion over that. I voted that sixth myself.
Yeah.
What do you think as far as comparing that to their ECW and their AAA stuff?
For spots, the one that always blows me away was the one that they did in Japan. With that Super J Cup.
Yeah, but that's all that was. I mean, that was what.
No,
how
that
long
was
that match?
It was like 10 minutes of a collection of unbelievable moves, one after the other, and they hit every one of them. But I'm trying to think. They had a 2 out of 3 fall match at ECW that was awfully good. I think that those two, the one that you're mentioning and that one, were pretty close. As I recall, their matches from 4 or 5 years ago now. So
yeah,
I remember watching that one and being blown away, and it's just amazing that those guys got no credit and no upward mobility, no upward push for putting on like the best matches of the decade, and then those guys, you know what I mean?
That's not that amazing. It didn't surprise me. It wasn't amazing in the sense that I thought anything else was going to happen, right?
Yeah, it's sad. I know, because we just saw it again on Sunday.
Yeah, Liger Pillman Super Bowl '92 is fourth, which is another example of that. How soon after that match did they kill the light heavyweight division?
What was it? 3 months?
Yeah, that match finished fourth. Example of. I liked a lot of the things. I had, for example, I was just watched Clash 19 again, which was a Watts Clash, and I really, really liked that show a lot. But, he did a lot of really stupid things when he was there. Combined with the fact that he gave, good wrestlers long times to wrestle matches. But 5 was Flair Steamboat from Spring Stampede 94.
See, now, when we were on before, when I talked about that, I thought their TBS match was better.
Yeah, I think this probably made it because the TBS match is harder to find. That's when you get a huge bout like this, 100 people coming voting. You tend to get, I think, some voting on matches that are more available on tape.
Well, the pay-per-view matches always end up winning. Yeah. It seems like.
I like that match a lot, but I think there was a big swing when we discussed it on the board. Big swing of opinion. I know, John D. Williams. I don't know if you know John. He thought that match was mediocre. I thought it was great.
Yeah, he yelled at me for giving it 4.25 stars.
Yeah, he's been revisiting that argument on our boards for the last couple of weeks. We also wore 92 War Games, which was the
Sting. That was awesome.
Sting et al. Against the Dangerous Alliance one was sixth.
Yeah, the only problem was just that Sid nearly killed Brian Pillman.
No, that's the other one. That's 11. The 1-6 was 92, the year afterwards.
Okay, no, so it's not Phoenix, because Phoenix was the one I was at. That was awesome.
Is that the one with Wyndham with Sid Vicious killing Pillman?
I believe so, because I remember. See, I used to go to all those shows, and I remember Brian Pillman coming into the bar, and I was going, oh my God, what did Sid do to him? You know what I mean? Because Sid powerbombed him at a bad angle.
Oh yeah, I saw that
broke his neck.
Recently. The other thing about that is it's so funny. Sid's so brutally audibly calling spots in that entire match. He's yelling them out. Whip me into the ropes.
Yeah.
Give me a backdrop. I didn't vote for that match just because how can you vote for a match like that which has so huge obvious visible flaws?
Yeah, I want to ask John real quick. John, by any chance did you watch Nitro on Monday?
I got a chance to see a little bit of it.
Did you see the Sid broken leg?
Oh my God, yes I did. Unfortunately, yes I did.
That was one of the visually. I think that was the worst injury I've ever seen in wrestling. Although, I guess I've actually seen guys die. So, it wasn't the worst, but oh God, did it look bad?
What was he trying to do?
That was unbelievable.
So when does he ever think he could ever do stuff like that?
He never. I don't remember him ever doing anything like that.
Because he broke his leg, but what was he doing on the middle rope?
I never seen him do anything like that in his whole career.
He must have been trying to impress the new boss or something like that by being, high flying Sid, but.
Yeah, jumping high
kick.
kick.
Oh, crap, that was ugly. That must be steroids to make his bones crunch up like that when you land.
With that thing just folded.
Oh. No, I mean, you're landing. I don't think steroids make your bones crack in a certain way when you land wrong.
Well, don't they make it weaker? Isn't that why people keep having to have hip replacement surgeries?
Well, okay.
Yeah, I don't think that had much to do with it.
I think it's more tendons and ligaments.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe he just doesn't drink enough milk.
I mean, a lot of guys that do steroids tear muscles easier. I think.
Yeah.
John, you would know. You've been around the bodybuilding. You would think that they would be more.
Like tendon problems. They end up tearing pecs, biceps, quads, and whatnot. I've never seen it break that clean like that though. I mean, that
I don't think it would be.
Fake.
Yeah, it almost looked like it was like something that was done in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than real life. Yeah.
But where we're talking, so we're talking about the War Games ones, right?
Yeah.
So the first one, the one with the Dangerous Alliance versus Sting, Koloff Road, Steamboat, and Wyndham. The one with a lot of blood and the kind of crappy ending.
Okay, so that's not the one that I was talking about. The one I was talking about was the Phoenix one. Okay.
Right, that one finished 11th. The Phoenix one finished 11th. Flair Vader from Starrcade finished 7th, which I thought was way too high. I didn't even vote for that match.
But it was really a night. I don't know. I mean, that one. I mean, I think people will remember that one more than any of the other matches. I mean, that was a real memorable.
It's kind of almost like that Benoit Hart match.
The same sort of.
Just something special on a certain day that
There's a certain day and certain place. That same match would not have been, like we used to always say, that same match in another city on another night may not have been anything special, but on that day, that night, in that place, that was a pretty awesome match.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. It did not make my list by a lot. I think it was on the original beta list before I started watching a lot more stuff. I hit the tapes for this one, so. But I don't know. Maybe it means less in retrospect because if that had been one of Flair's last matches, it might have mean something. But the fact that he's still going, almost 10 years later,
he's like 8 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
Seven plus years later, and he's still out there.
Like it would have made a great swan song for his career, but I mean.
What a great retirement match that would have been. You know what else would have been a great retirement match was Bret Hart and Benoit.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of was.
Oh, yeah.
Bret Hart didn't have much. I mean, what do you have, another 2 months of wrestling? Just and Russo.
Roughly, yeah, 2
I don't
months.
tend to think of that Russo stuff as professional wrestling anyway, so basically his last wrestling match, and he was on some really badly written sitcom for a couple months, and then had to leave that. What was it? Ricky Steamboat Rick Rude from Beach Blast, 92, the Iron Man match. Which is one of my favorite matches, one of my favorite pay-per-views.
Yeah.
You didn't like that one so much? I heard some.
Now was that? I'm trying to remember. Okay, no, okay. It was that one was the good one. Yeah, there was the Iron Man match. I was thinking the Dustin Rhodes Iron Man match with Rick Rude that I thought was like pretty disappointing, actually.
Yeah, that wasn't very good. This was I guess this might have been the year before. This is the one where they sort of put a lot of. I've watched all these recently. It's the one where they pumped a lot of falls in it. They had the thing where Rude got himself intentionally disqualified with a chair to lose one fall to
lose a fall so he could win a couple later. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was clever.
Then Benoit Malenko against Raven Perry Saturn from Spring Stampede, 99, which I thought was. I think I voted that higher than Juventud Blitzkrieg, although I had them both on my list. I'm talking about great, like the bizarre great pay-per-view in the middle of a pretty crappy run of wrestling for the most part.
Yeah,
I mean,
the Blitzkrieg match was awesome.
Yeah, that made it. What did that make it? That's very end of the list. I think it's like 18 or something, like 19.
Yeah.
So that just scooted on the list. The Nasty Boys versus Cactus Jack and Kevin Sullivan from 94, Falls Count Anywhere was 10, which I thought's brutally high, and I think I don't think that was a very good match.
Okay, but the thing is that's again a timing thing. Like if you saw that now, you would just go, I've seen a million matches like that. But back then we didn't see matches like that. I mean, I remember when they were doing that feud, those matches were off the charts brawls. But now it's that's sort of typical of what the weapons stuff was so new that at that time I think you know what I mean.
Yeah,
at that time it was a really great match.
The reason I think I didn't vote for it is, for one thing, it was hard for me to put that ahead of anything I had on my list. But also, I thought the big flaw, and this is other guy, Phil, who writes for our website, pointed this out, that you had Dave Schultz as the special referee. Not only in a Falls Count Anywhere match did he stay in the ring and not count a single fall outside the ring, but he also had the finish where he hit, where they were just killing each other for 20 minutes, and then his finish is the crappy 4 punches with the hockey thing. You know what I mean?
Well,
it's such a bad finish for a match to vote a match at the top of the best of the 90s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Finish. I think my big thing was I only voted for one match with a bad finish. figuring there was so much great stuff in WCW. The only match I voted for, I voted Regal versus Finlay from Uncensored, second overall, even though that had a bad finish. Just that was so such an incredible match. Just the way they were, the stiffness and just the intensity of everything they were doing in that, even though that had such a bad finish. But I didn't vote for any other match. I had a screw job. I just took it off my list.
Phil, we got to get running, okay?
Sure. Do you want me to quickly run through the last 15 in 2 seconds?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. We got Flair. We got the other cage match was 11. Midnight Express versus Southern Boys from the Bash was 12. Benoit Sullivan from Great American Bash was 13. Vader versus Jack from Halloween Havoc is 14. Benoit Malenko from Hog Wild is 15. Vader and Sting, the strap match from Super Bowl, was 16. Steiner Brothers versus Sting and Lex Luger was 17. Sting and Vader from the Bash 92 was 18. Hugentuger Blitzkrieg was 19. And the Nasty Boys versus Cash Jack and Max Payne was 20.
Okay, thanks very much, Phil.
Okay, cool. Check out our website for the results. See you guys later.
Okay. All right, thanks. Let's go to Matt in San Francisco. Matt, what's going on?
Good afternoon, guys.
Hey.
I really liked your match in Oakland there, John.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Physically, and your look, you're ready. And I agree with the backstage criticism. Just a suggestion.
Yep.
Watch Chris Daniels in the ring.
Trust me.
He does.
I do my homework. I spend 3 days with him a week. He gives me pretty much one-on-one lessons, so I'm definitely trying to learn from the top.
Good. And I have to agree with your ring name. You physically are the prototype of the future pro wrestler.
Man, I appreciate that. That's good. That's good. When somebody gets a gimmick, that's good.
Have you had a chance to show the WWF people your interviews, or have they pretty much just seen you in the ring?
I'm pretty sure they've just seen me in the ring. I don't know if they've seen any of the interviews or any of the ad-lib stuff. I do a ton of ad-lib stuff. Like, I did a little thing for UPN. They took an 8-minute ad-lib segment and cut it down to like a 2.5-minute interview. But the whole thing was just done in one take. So, I mean, I do a lot of stuff like that. I'm pretty good on the fly. And, like, that's the one thing I'm good at is mic work.
Okay. Matt, anything else?
Yeah. I don't know if you've noticed this, Dave, but since Austin's come back, he's been born again in the ring. His ring work is truly amazing.
He's good.
I think that he's, the first couple of weeks, he probably was feeling his way around, and everybody was going like, oh, is he going to come back and everything. But also, one of the things is he's worked with some really good people too. I mean, like the matches, everyone's, it's Benoit and Angle, and those guys are just incredible. But in the ring, I think that, one thing that when you watch him that you can tell is that he's got to be hurting so much less than he was before he left, because he's doing so much more, and taking so much fewer shortcuts than he did before he, went down for the surgery. And everyone thought that the surgery would end his career, and actually, the surgery has probably lengthened it quite a bit, I think.
Plus things like the back suplex and everything like that. Never would have taken that before the surgery.
Yeah, he didn't take. Yeah.
He took a superplex on Monday.
Yeah.
I was amazed that he'd take that bump.
Well, when he first took the Germans from Benoit, that's when I realized that he must be feeling pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The second one, the first one was kind of on the side of his shoulder when he came down the left side, and then the second one was pretty much on the neck. When I saw Benoit, get him from behind, I was like, oh, no. But then he took him. And I was like, okay, Austin's back. And then, Austin from the early 90s, popped in my head. And I'm like, oh, boy, here we go again. We're going to see great wrestling on Monday night.
Anything else, Matt?
Yeah, there any word if Regal's going to get in the ring with Angle?
I haven't heard of anything in that direction. Eventually, probably. Yeah. Right now, I don't know. I'm trying to find out, how hurt Regal is, because he's got 2 herniated discs, so that could be fairly serious.
Because on paper, that would be a hell of a match.
Oh, yeah. It'd be great for Angle, too, because I don't think Angle's ever worked with anyone with that style. So, and Angle, the one thing, God, that guy...
He learned something from every single match, every single person.
You know, the one thing about Angle is there's some guys in sports that, you know, I don't know what it is, but they pick things up like just quicker than others. And, you know, it's just like, you know, he picks things up so fast. John, you know, what have you? What are your thoughts? You know, Kurt Angle came down for one of your shows
yep.
a couple of months back.
Yep.
Did you get to meet him or anything?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
He was very, very polite to all of us. Very nice guy. I've seen him every time I've been to the WWF. He's one of the few guys I actually can talk to. He's one of the few guys I have talked to. It's like you said, he's a phenom. You know, he's that one kid in Little League that always, you know, hits home runs every time he's out to plate or throws a no-hitter. He gets it, you know, and like you said, everybody he works with, he picks up something. He's managed to cram 6 to 8 years experience into a year or two, which is
and 20 years worth of athletic ability.
Yeah.
You know, the thing with him though, I mean, like, you know, obviously you don't get to be an Olympic gold medalist in wrestling at 220 without being an unbelievable athlete. And then
of course not.
The other thing is that, like, you know, this guy, and you know, John, did you ever do any wrestling, you know, as far as like in high school or college?
No, I never did. Unfortunately, I went to prep school that did not have a wrestling team.
Because.
And then in college, it was just I was a one-sport athlete.
Yeah, because I forget Brian, do you remember what the weight was when he won the heavyweights? Because he won the heavyweight division in the NCAA's 1 year. He was on the show talking to us about it, and I forget the number.
190.
Was it like he weighed a little more?
Was it
220 and then supers are?
It had to have been like 220.
No. He weighed a lot less than 220. He was the lightest guy probably in history ever to win the super heavyweight division in the NCAA's. Yeah, I think it might have been like 204 or something like that. But he was like beating guys that were 290 and 300, you know, left and right at, you know, like 204, maybe 198, or I forget the number. He was on the show and he said it, but it was something that if you.
That, wasn't he?
What?
He was talking about that. I can't remember what he said though. It's just.
I forgot the number. I think it was the high 190s or low 2s, but it was something. Somebody call in and let us and remind us what the number was. Jim Ross mentioned it once on the air as well. But I was thinking, like, you know, if you've been around wrestling and the idea that, you know, a guy who's like, say, 198 or 204 was beating every great athletic heavyweight that was 260 and 280. I mean, giving away that kind of weight in a wrestling match night after night, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Plus, the other guy's not going to get. I mean, you look at like maybe a UFC and there's a really heavy guy, but you know, someone's not going to become that good at wrestling at 280 unless they're awesome. It's not like just some guy off the street at 280 that is 204-pound guy is beating.
These aren't just guys off the street. These are 6'6", 280 guys who've been wrestling since they've been, you know, 12, 13 years old.
Yeah, they're the guys who've been wrestling, and they're wrestling at, you know, at the Division I level, you know, All-American level guys. You know, it's like, you know, one of the guys he beat was, and I don't know if you know him or not. Do you know Sylvester Terkay?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, because he beat Sylvester for one of his NCAA titles, and Sylvester is a huge guy.
Boy.
Yeah, it's like 6'5", and I don't know what he weighed in college, but, you know, it's probably closing in on 3 because he's way over 3 now.
Yeah, he is a big dude.
Yeah.
One more question for all three of you guys. Give me a prediction for winner of the Rumble.
Man,
Hunter.
That's tough.
Mark my words.
I gotta say Austin.
Let me see. It's gonna be Rock or Austin. I'm figuring. How would they go? Austin. That's my prediction.
I think they're gonna do the fan test again, like they did with Luger and Hart.
Oh, I don't know.
With Austin and Rock.
It'll be split. But they're not, you know. But you're not going to pick the winner in the middle of the match.
Right. Well, okay. Well, what I'm saying is, you know, they both go over at the same time. Then they can headline the February pay-per-view.
Oh, that would be such a bad idea.
And the winner goes to WrestleMania. And
I think it's such a bad idea to put them on the February pay-per-view and then not at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Okay. Or you can do it with Hunter and Austin.
I could see Hunter and Austin, like, you know, having a disputed thing where Hunter and Austin, because I expect the February pay-per-view is going to be Hunter and Austin, whether it's a title match or not, and hopefully Angle should probably retain with Austin helping Angle, because I think that it would be much better to have Angle defending against Rock in February, and then Austin and Hunter with no belt at stake. That's kind of how I would look at it. And then you go with the two winners at WrestleMania, which should be Austin and Rock. I still like that one as the best alternative.
Hopefully, it's just a singles match at Mania. You know that whole thing.
I've been praying every night.
I hope so, just because it's more focused and everything like that. I could easily see them doing a three-way with Hunter, Rock, and Austin, though. I mean, when you watch the TV, that certainly seems where they're going. But, I just want to see a single match because I just think there's a lot more drama in a single, even though the WWF, those guys on top, they've worked so many three-ways that they certainly can do it good now. It's not like they're the unwieldy messes that they were a few years ago.
And I don't want to see more Angle stuck in there at WrestleMania with, like, The Undertaker again.
Yeah. I know, neither do I. This is someone who goes, what supplements do you use? And what are your thoughts on supplements?
My thoughts on supplements, generally there's a lot of stuff out there that can take your money and run. Besides a good multivitamin, there's been a lot of research backing creatine and maybe some of the thermogenics, like some of the fat burners in good healthy doses, not in the mega doses that a lot of people use nowadays. But besides that, there's really no substitute for just good, healthy nutrition. I really don't use that much supplements. I personally just take a multivitamin and use a protein powder.
Okay, because I've always, and again, stuff has changed and everything like that. I've always been of the impression that, if you do a fat burner, you're paying for it at the other end. I guess maybe it's because of what happened with people who used to do diet pills.
Yeah.
And that it speeds up your metabolism. Yeah, you can drop your weight down. But then when you stop, your body, to overcompensate, if you lose 10, you go up 12, type of a thing.
Yeah, I mean, your body pretty much does have a set point where it likes to sit at. But the fat burners, like when I use them just maybe to get that last couple pounds off if I'm leaning down for a particular show or a particular day. There's no sense in using them all year round. There's no sense of, I think as the same thing with the people with the diet pills, they took the recommended allowance and found that it worked. And then they ended up taking a hell of a lot more, and then that's when you get the giant weight gains back because you're so sped up, and then your body goes from going 100 miles an hour back to 0, and that's where you see the giant weight gain. But, and
they go back to eating.
Yeah, exactly, and they go back to eating because their metabolism's, craving everything, and they don't have the diet pills to back them up. So, now, as far as supplements goes, I would stick with just a basic multivitamin just to make sure your diet's well-rounded and good quality. I'd rather spend your money on food.
I think. But you have taken creatine or?
Yes.
What about Andro?
It's not something that I would go out and buy. If somebody gives it to me, I'll take it just because I like what the supplement does. I know it works, but I'd rather spend my money on something along the lines of good nutrition, like a steak or chicken or a protein powder.
And Andro?
What's that?
Have you ever done Andro or anything?
No. I never was one to mess around with that, only because right when it came out was all that information that you'll fail a drug test and this and that, and I didn't even want to get involved with any of that, seeing as I was trying to market myself as a natural bodybuilder. But I'm actually glad because a lot of that stuff is really raising estrogen levels instead of testosterone. So it's good now that they've done some research on it. I don't know how potent that stuff actually is.
What now? When you were doing the bodybuilding, did you ever get magazine coverage?
No, not really. And like I said, I grew up in a small town. I did mostly small East Coast shows. I came out here and did 2 shows, the Iron Man Natural and I can't even remember the name of the last one. But they were both natural shows. And around here, people don't want to see that. The market is for the freaks. So unless you're 260 to 280 pounds at 5'7", you're not going to get much coverage just because there are so many guys vying for those so few spots.
How tall are you?
What's that?
How tall are you?
I'm 6'1", and right now I'm like 245, 247. And the weird thing is, I could have got a lot of coverage with, like, let's say, a Muscle and Fitness, but I was just a little bit too big for that. They wanted me to go down to like 220 to shoot with them, and I was like 20 pounds short of getting coverage with magazines like Flex and Muscle Mag for the really big guys. So I was right in the middle.
You were like caught in the middle
exactly.
Yeah,
between Flex and Muscle and Fitness.
Yeah. So too bodybuilder like for the model magazines and
exactly. It's a
not
little bit
freaky
too
enough
big
for
the model
bodybuilding. Yeah.
A little bit too small for the bodybuilder magazines.
Now, this is from Ian Ronald, who's asking about the Discovery Channel thing, and as far as like when they followed you and you bought that food, I mean, was that for the cameras? How much? I mean, was that a typical week? Was it an atypical week?
That was definitely a typical week, but that was also done for the cameras. I don't buy my meat at a grocery store just because I would be in the poorhouse. I buy my meat actually from a slaughterhouse. They give me a really good deal on the stuff, and I get much better cuts of meat and chicken. It doesn't fill up the cart that much just because they have a crate that they give to me every week. I usually, now, because I'm doing a little bit more traveling around, I order by the month. So I actually go once a month, give them around $300, and they give me anywhere from 150 to 200 pounds of meat.
Now that would have been a cool thing on that special.
Yeah, and
picking up 100 pounds of meat
do it and everything. And I wanted to take them on a tour. This place is really cool. It's like the Rocky Balboa thing. They got the cows hanging there and everything. I wanted to take them in there, and they didn't want to go. So
that's so much better than going to a grocery store.
I know, but I mean, they thought the grocery thing would be funny.
Maybe it's because they figured everybody could relate to the grocery store.
I got to walk in there and put on coveralls and a hair cap, and you got to walk in and see all the guys. It's pretty cool.
Now if you're on the road, I guess as long as you're home one day a month, you can hit the slaughterhouse then.
Yeah, as long as I'm in the neighborhood.
And then if you were to go, just theoretically, let's just say you're on the road with the WWF. I mean, you would just pack your food for like 4 days and go. You wouldn't be. You have to avoid restaurants,
not
or what's
necessarily. I mean, they spend anywhere from 4 to 6 days on the road, depending on the situation. But it's generally about 4 days. And like I said, the catering, as far as I've seen, the catering has been unbelievable. So I would eat the catering when I could, and I mean, as many of the hotel restaurants that I've been in, they all have some sort of chicken breast or some sort of steak plate. I would fork over the extra money just because when you carry food, there's so many complications that can go with it, and I've had food poisoning twice, and it's the worst. It is the absolute worst. So I would not want to go through anything like that. I would keep my meat at home, cook what I have at home, and then just deal with what I could on the road.
What's your thoughts as far as growth hormone and everything like that? I mean, has that ever been anything, as far as compared to the steroids or anything, as far as like your experience or with guys?
Sorry, bottom line on all that stuff is it works really good, and that's why a lot of the guys use it. You see, it's weird because I actually went to college for this stuff, so I found out if you do it, what can it do to you? Mostly on the bad side because in college they don't preach, go do drugs and everything like that. At my age, using growth hormone would be a complete waste. Just because I'm so young, I mean, there's actually potential that I'm even still growing. So to oversaturate my body with growth hormone, I mean, growth hormone production pretty much slows down in adult males at around 32 to 35. So, and that's why it's marketed as a drug to like older people. It rejuvenates, it gives you, it's like a reformation of life, like a fountain of youth. But somebody from my age, it basically helps keep you lean. It's not even that much of a size drug. If you really want to get big off it, you have to take it with a bunch of anabolics. It costs a hell of a lot of money, and it's at my age, it definitely wouldn't be worth it. It'd do a lot more harm than it would good.
Do you find that a lot of bodybuilders in your area, just like, I shouldn't even say in your area, but anywhere, just have no clue what they're putting in their body?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, in large, bodybuilders spend a lot of money on drugs, but they also spend a lot of money on people to tell them what drugs to take. Mm-hmm. I find it unbelievably, almost embarrassing, especially being out here in Venice, that a lot of these bodybuilders have like coaches and people to get them ready for things and tell them what to do and what to take. These guys really don't even know what they're doing with their lives, and it's almost a shame because you see them getting to the point where you know that they're not going to make it. I mean, they're very, very large, but I don't know what the cost is. I don't know if the end justifies the means.
Well, at the professional level, I mean, like,
if you're the very top,
there probably are the guys that like are winning your Mr. Olympias.
Yeah.
That they'd probably get endorsements and everything. But what I was always thinking of is what about the guy who finishes 10th and he's probably spending the same amount of money on drugs?
Exactly.
He looks like if you saw him at the gym, he looks like a total freak, but. He's never gonna finish higher than 10th in Mr. Olympia and 8th at another contest, and there's no prize money there, and he's just like.
And that's why bodybuilding is such a tough sport, because unless you're one of the top 3 guys, you really have basically nothing going for you.
And even you look like Ronnie Coleman, and he's like a cop on the side.
Yeah.
And it's like, can this guy really love fighting crime this bad?
It's not the glamour life everybody thinks it was. It's not the Arnold Schwarzenegger thing. He got lucky.
He got right place, right time, right guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, like a lot of things. Like a lot of things in the world, actually.
Yep.
You know, I mean, for every, I mean, like Jim Hellwig, Ultimate Warrior. You know, for every Jim Hellwig, you know, there were plenty of bodybuilders. You know, but Warlord never made it huge.
No, definitely not as big as a Warrior.
Yeah, but like Warrior was, you know, it's like, you know, there's plenty of bodybuilders, you know, the great bodybuilders, but he came along. I mean, a good look and everything, but there's probably, you know, 20, 30 guys running around, and some of whom were
like compared to Warlord. He's just a huge guy, but he never did anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like some guy makes it because he's in the right place at the right time for the right push, and it's like Hawk and Animal spawned a million imitators, you know, those Road Warrior imitators. Yep. And I mean, there were guys that were just like gassed to the gills that were, you know, 280 pounds and painted their face and got the haircuts. And like, we don't even remember any of those guys anymore except for Hawk and Animal because they were the first.
Of course.
Yeah. Let's go to Scott in Connecticut. Scott, what's going on?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey.
Doing really good.
All right. I thought Nitro was really good. And how funny was it to see Buff Bagwell pat Hugh Morris on the back and say, "You're a star"?
I wish you would have said, "You are an A-list player."
That was, I think, and I was watching, and then after that, I remember Hugh was cutting the promo where he got all intense, and I was just thinking, you know, about when Buff Bagwell was smiling in the suit, patting him on the back, you know.
That's probably why he got so intense in the promo.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Sin was real good too, and I thought Sin and Nitro really, you know, were up to the next level as far as WCW goes. And it's either because they're really scared of Eric Bischoff, or I don't know, they're just finally stepped up the plate, you know.
I'm sure the effort's a lot to do with Bischoff, but
me too.
The thing is, though, like both shows, a lot of that was stuff that had already been written.
Yeah, I mean, but I also what I want to talk about is the Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about that in the past 3 years, the Royal Rumble's been kind of dull lately, don't you think? As far as Royal Rumble matches go.
The match itself?
Yeah, the 30-man over the top.
The last 2 years, I don't remember the match
standing.
I don't remember the match standing out, but you know, I mean, the one 2 years, it was 2 years ago that that had, I mean, it had its storyline, but you know, what the storyline revolved around, you know, kind of, I don't know.
Well, I just think in the early 90s, they used to put a lot of emphasis on the entry number and how long guys were in the ring, and guys like Rick Martel and Teddy DiBiase, they used to sell like how long they were in there and the fatigue, and they used to say that like so they got over other guys besides the winner, you know?
Yeah.
And nowadays,
they kind of ruined that when they cut it down to 30 seconds between guys that one year.
Well, do you know how long they're going to go? Because
I think they're going 2 this year.
Okay, because the one thing with the Rumble, I think that's changed in the last 3 or 4 years is that one, the fans are smarter, and two, everyone kind of knows there's like 3 or 4 guys and one of them is going to win. Whereas in the past, because it wasn't always, you know, I mean, I think the pool of people who had a chance to win was larger, so there was more intrigue. Because now, pretty much everyone's going to go in there and go, okay, it's Rock or Austin, and they're going to be there till the end.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And you know, it's not like, you know, like in the old days, you know, a top star could be thrown out in the middle of the Rumble, and often happens.
It was good. Like in the 92 Rumble when Flair won, I thought that was Ric Flair in that Rumble. That was probably one of the best performances I've seen in WWF in all time. Was Ric Flair in that Royal Rumble. And I mean, granted, it wasn't a one-on-one match, so I guess it wouldn't qualify as being, you know, one of the top performances. But I thought it was really good.
He worked for 30 men. He worked for about 30 guys in that match.
Oh yeah,
he bumped for everyone. Everyone ran in. The first thing they did was do high spots with Ric Flair.
And I think that's the reason that it worked. Was that
that really worked? Yeah.
Yeah, that they allowed guys like British Bulldog and Texas Tornado, these guys with great builds, go in there and attack this guy who's got the opposite of a great look, Ric Flair, and beat the crap out of him. He every now and then he'd do the famous flop to the mat, but then he won. And he won by tossing over Sid and Hogan. But
didn't like Sid pull Hogan over?
Well, it was
Hogan pulled Sid out.
Yeah, remember? Hogan had a.
That's right. And then everybody booed Hogan, and then they changed the soundtrack. I remember that one.
You know what I think has had the most effect on the Royal Rumble though in the past years is that there's so much TV going from Rumble to Mania. That I don't think in the last 3 years has the winner of the Rumble ever really gone to the main event of Mania. At least
both of them did last year. Just they made it a 4-way.
Yeah, it was a 4-way. And then I remember the one where Vince won. It turned into, Austin Rock. But, I mean, I think the fact that there's so much TV, it's hard to, hold that number one contender spot,
the other thing also is that before they had a February pay-per-view, it was easy because Rumble and then Mania would be the next pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Then they added the February pay-per-view, and the first couple times they did February pay-per-view was just so they would just throw in a tag or something.
Yeah, that was good. I think that's good.
Where you just have a tag, so it had nothing to do with it. And you already knew in January who was going to be in the main event. Well, now, I mean, obviously, whatever they're going to do, now that every pay-per-view is of somewhat equal importance except for Mania, obviously, like the number one thing, whatever happens, like whoever wins the Rumble, obviously there's going to be a dispute and there's going to be a match in February, obviously.
Yeah, there's going to be something on the line, most likely the title shot of Mania in the February pay-per-view. To get people to watch,
Yeah, because you've got to do something with that pay-per-view in the middle. So,
and I like what you were saying about the thing with doing a Hunter versus Austin at pay-per-view and Rock versus Angle. But I really think what they're going to go with is the title match at Rumble. It doesn't really matter who it goes to, Hunter or Angle. But I think they're going to have Rock win the Rumble and then do the Austin heel turn. I think that's what.
Possible. I don't know. I just think because it's Texas and everything, they're not going to do the Austin heel turn for Texas. I think they're going to keep them.
Yeah.
If they do it, I think they'll wait till after.
Yeah, I was thinking what they could do is a screw job in the Rumble for the heel turn.
They could.
For Austin turn? For Austin to turn?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not actually in the Rumble match, but at the Rumble, maybe the main event Austin could do his turn. Because I mean, it needs to be big, and it needs to be like that moment that it has to be so obvious that now Stone Cold is actually Stone Cold, and he is a heel, that nobody doubts it and nobody wants to cheer him,
Yeah, but the problem is if they make him that kind of a heel, a Stone Cold heel, everyone's going to cheer him. So he's got to do something real weird, and still, it's like he's such a celebrity, and he's in Texas. You know what I mean? It's like it's just like Kurt Angle in Pittsburgh, just as an example. Okay.
Yeah, but I remember when it was Shane
when Kurt Angle went back to Pittsburgh because he's a local hero and everything. When Kurt Angle first went to Pittsburgh,
they hated him.
They booed him because he was a preliminary guy from their hometown. But when Kurt Angle went back to Pittsburgh as a main eventer, even though he was a heel in every other city, they loved him, even against The Rock. So to me, in Texas, I don't think they're even going to make an attempt to make Austin a heel, because even if he's a heel in the other 49 states, you kind of blow it when at WrestleMania with 60,000 people, they're all chanting for him against The Rock, and it's supposed to be the other way around. You don't want that.
I mean, I don't know. I think the WWF, the least out of all the promotions and all the territories ever, WWF, hometown boys have meant the least in the WWF, I think.
Up until the last few years. It's changed. Because look at Lawler, look at Bret Hart, look at...
Lawler, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, for in historically, like in the 80s, I would agree with you, but what's happened, I think, is that when the babyface heel thing, when the fans went, instead of going to, when the fans started, like, with the idea that they're all entertainers, and this is a guy from our hometown, that's more important than the fact they know he plays a heel, but he's from our hometown, he's our guy, and that way, like, because, I mean, the perfect example was Bret Hart. I mean, that's what changed it, was that, even though Bret Hart did play babyface in those cities, but Bret Hart, like they weren't going to boo him, and they booed Steve Austin in Canada for a long time.
Well, that was good, though. That was different storylines, though. Same thing with Lance Storm in Canada.
Yeah, I think it turned the whole company around, quite frankly. It was the seeds that turned the company around.
But do you really want to turn half your market, well, not really half, but 20% of your market on against 80% of your market? Do you really want to turn the United States on Canada,
No, it worked at the time. It was a great thing at the time. It would have been okay for Lance Storm, too.
Yeah, I thought it would with Lance Storm, too, yeah.
John, real quick, have you heard anything as far as television for Ultimate Pro, or are you even involved in those kind of discussions?
Very briefly, we're gonna try to do a local triangle of TV. Our triangle is going to be from like San Francisco to Vegas down to Tijuana. It's going to run right in that area. We're starting that as soon as the first of next month, hopefully.
Really?
Yep. We've
That's
been filming. We've been filming for TV actually at our past live 2 events, and we got another one coming up on the 31st of January at the Galaxy Theater. So
do you know who you're wrestling on the 31st?
What's that?
Do you know who you're wrestling on the 31st?
I don't right yet. It's some big mystery melee. I have no clue. They never let me know. It's always a mystery with me.
A mystery.
Yeah, the last one was Chase Tatum.
Yeah.
How far in advance did you know about that one?
I pretty much knew about 2 days in advance.
Okay.
So.
I'm sure you'd never met him before, had you?
No, I'd never met him before. I saw a brief tape on him. Very, very nice guy. It's just I wish we had gotten some time to go over some stuff in the ring, or I wish I could have got a little bit more comfortable with his style.
Let's go to JP in Pittsburgh. What's going on?
Hey, Dave. Hey, Brian. How you guys doing tonight?
Hey.
Good.
That's good. Listen, I want to ask you guys, I know you had Rob Van Dam on last night's show, and I was wondering if you guys could maybe comment. Do you guys think, with ECW and Paulie, with all the situations they've had, he'll probably go to the WWF, and if not, do you think Jerry Lynn might be going?
I think everything's going to have to sort
Lynn
this.
would go first.
There's definitely a spot open for Lynn if ECW goes down. As far as Van Dam, if he wants it and asks in the right way and everything, they probably give him a shot. But you can tell they're not as enthusiastic. He might fit in better with WCW. They need a shot in the arm more than WWF. It's like you got to look at the landscape, and timing is everything. There may have been a time where it would have been better for him to go to WWF. But right now, WWF is overloaded with talent, realistically. And if he went there, he would have a very, very difficult time breaking through to the top. Plus, there's some resentment of certain guys. WCW needs new top guys. So when you need new top guys and there's not a lot of them out there, it's a better slot. Realistically, I think it's a better slot for him if WCW realizes that it's a better slot for him. If WCW looks at him and just goes, well, we're going to push Rick Steiner and those guys, then neither's a good spot for him, and maybe Japan's a better spot. You've got to look at the mindset of all the different people. But to me, from the outside, I say WCW is the best spot for him right now.
What about Jerry Lynn?
He said himself yesterday. There's just so many factors.
Yeah, there's a million factors. Plus, you got to look at who offers you the most money. From his standpoint, whoever's going to offer him the most money on the surface, that's kind of telling you right there how interested you really are. If you go in there and you kind of we'll give you a job but no offer, and the other guy goes, well, we'll give you, if it actually works out this way, we'll give you, $750,000 a year, just to throw out a number. Obviously, the person who's offering you $750 economically, they have to justify that money, so therefore they're probably going to give you a better push. And the ones who bring you in at a low number, you're going to have to make your own break. And if you do, obviously they own you, so they're going to give you the push. But but they don't have that same incentive where they're looking at, oh my God, we're spending $15,000 a week on this guy. We better push him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dave, I like to listen to you and Dan and Jeff Mayrack on the law. I listen to you every chance I get, and on your radio show as well, and I think it's great.
Okay, thanks a bunch.
No problem. One last thing. I was going to say this. So do you think if Lynn comes in, do you think maybe it'll happen sometime before Super Bowl, sometime within the next few months?
Super Bowl for WCW? I don't think Lynn's going to come to WCW. As far as Van Dam, nothing. Bischoff, he likes to do things like, he likes surprises. It could happen any week, realistically. Just when they make the deal, they could be like the Mike Awesome thing, just rush him on the air as quick as they can.
Mm-hmm. That'd be a great feud to see Van Dam and Awesome.
Leisure suit.
WCW, that's for sure.
If they do it right.
Yeah.
If they do it right, sure, yeah. I want to get to as many calls as we can before we get off here, okay?
All right, see you, Dave.
Okay, thanks a bunch. Let's go to Sean in PA. Sean, what's going on?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Not too much.
Yeah, I was thinking, I'm going to the Raw in Pittsburgh in a couple of weeks, and that's the best time to turn Austin heel because I don't know if you remember the last time Angle was in Pittsburgh. I believe it was SmackDown. They booed the hell out of him, and
they loved Angle in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
I don't know. I just think they're pulling Angle to be this huge face, and the crowd's going to care about him, and they're not going to see this turn coming because the crowd pops huge when Austin comes out. So once he turns around and gives Angle a stunner, he already did it on Raw, so it kind of sets it up. But
the thing is, though, with the stunner is he'll get a pop no matter who he hits with it. He'll rock with it, big pop. It just looks like they love to see the move. It's not so much even who he hits with it right now.
Yeah, and that's that's one of the things when people pay to go to a WWF show. The things they want to see, they want to see the people's elbow and they want to see the stunner. Those are one of the things you specifically pay your ticket money for.
If you look at this past Monday on Raw, you had the whole deal with Angle makes the big save, he hits Hunter with the Olympic Slam, everybody pops huge, and then Austin kills him with the stunner, and they pop even bigger.
Anything else, Sean?
No, that's about it.
Okay, let's go to Tony in Long Island. Tony, what's going on?
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Real good.
good. Hey, I got a couple of things. You're talking about turning Austin. And, boy, I think that's going to be awfully hard to do. Awfully hard to do. I mean, unless you want to walk him down the aisle with, like, O.J. Simpson, you know, or he comes out and he admits he's gay and starts making out with another guy. I mean, I just don't. I mean, I know that's pretty bad, but you know, you get my point.
Yeah.
That I just don't see how they're going to turn him. I mean, you know, they could do something in Pittsburgh. I mean, you know, you could do the thing where you have maybe like you got to find somebody who they love more than him. I mean, if you've got the local hero in town, you know, you could do. Kurt Angle has. Mario Lemieux up in the ring with them, and then Austin comes out and attacks both of them. But that would turn the fans on him. But if you turn him on in Pittsburgh,
that's only for Pittsburgh.
Right.
And everyone else watching on TV.
Right.
And Kurt Angle's still a heel anyway, so that's not necessarily.
That's what I mean. Does that translate to the next show?
No, because there'd be a babyface move to the rest of it. Except
exactly,
that's
my point. That's my point.
Okay, but,
it's not going to work except in that maybe if you're going to aim for that local city.
Okay, but the key is the announcing. I mean, that's the whole thing. And nothing's foolproof. I mean, there have been guys. I mean, I remember many times there have been guys where I have thought, because they were so over as baby faces, that if they turned him, I thought, like, you can't turn this guy. It's just not going to work. And yet, in many cases, it has. And then, but not in every case. And then we've also seen these muffled turns like Bill Goldberg and Sting. Of course, that was a different company. But, you know, where they just, you know, I mean, in hindsight, it was like total embarrassment.
I mean, when I look at the top of the card for the WWF, I mean, I look at Angle, and I think it's just going to be so weird to have this guy trying to be a babyface. You know, this clean-cut baby. It just doesn't really work. I mean, maybe they can do it, but he just seems so much better off.
They can do it. He will end up being a big-time babyface, but I don't know that I think it's maybe a little soon.
I think he should be better as a heel. And I think Austin's going to have a hell of a time if he's going to WrestleMania being a heel. I think Rock's going to not really want to be a heel because he's got to do the movies.
Rock shouldn't be a heel because you know what? Rock, if they try to make him a heel, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It really won't.
Austin,
I just think it's going to be so hard in Texas.
Yeah.
To do it that why even bother? You know, wait until after. And you don't have to have a heel out of that. And you could have Austin and Rock go in there both as baby faces. You're going to have a giant buy rate. It's the dream match that everyone's been waiting for. And then afterwards, you know, Rock's gone. And, you know, but then, okay, so if Rock is gone doing the movie, why would you want to turn Austin other than it's something to do with Austin? But then you need the baby face to step in that spot. And whether you turn Hunter back babyface because Hunter's got to be in the mix. I mean, he's turned too many times already as it is. So I don't know if it's the move. Although, you know, I mean, I know everyone's going like, you know, Austin's stale. We've seen everything from Austin now, so.
And like at the whole top of the card, as far as being stale, really, who can you turn? Angle? Undertaker? Undertaker's old. Really can't do much with him.
Chris Jericho.
Yeah, there you go.
Got to turn Chris Jericho.
But then you have to be willing to put him at the very top.
And shoot him to the top. Give him a chance. It's something new. You know, because he's stale as a babyface anyway. I don't know. Any ideas, Tony? What do you think?
Man, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd mess with it right now.
John. Yeah.
I don't know, like how much. You know, do you ever study like wrestling booking or anything like that, or is that all kind of new to you?
No. I've done what I can, and right now, as far as the WWF picture is, I mean, I don't see them having to change anything anytime soon, especially with the fact that right now that, you know, there's minimal competition from other companies, and just the fact that their formula works so well. I mean, like everybody says, as soon as you hear that glass break or if you smell what the Rock is cooking, the fans go absolutely nuts. They definitely could change it because they're all about propaganda, but it would take so much effort to change it. I mean, until the fans get tired of seeing Stone Cold rip open a 30-pack every show, I don't know if they should change it because I mean it sounds like each city wins a Super Bowl every time he comes out, no matter where he is, you know.
The only way that they're going to get away with turning him, it's not by making him a stronger heel, but by making him a crybaby. That's the only emotion.
He already does.
Kill him.
I mean, if you look at Austin's character, he does a lot of heel stuff. I mean, there's really not much they could do to make him a bad guy heel. He'd have to be a crybaby.
Yeah, because I mean that was the only way they could have, you know, pulled the Bret Hart one off. Because when they turned Bret Hart, that was considered somewhat risky in '97. But the key to that one is that they knew, I mean, and everyone knew that Steve Austin was going to be this giant babyface, and the idea was they needed a giant heel to go against him. And Bret Hart recognized that that's the biggest money for him, so he went heel. But he tempered it by trying to stay face in Canada, and which everyone thought was nuts, which as it turned out to be a great idea. But, like right now with, it's going to be hard with Austin unless you've got, with Rock, you could do it to an extent, but, it's not by being meaner. By being meaner, they're going to cheer him.
Yeah, he's the toughest SOB. He is. He's a mean guy. And especially, like you said, with The Rock on filming the movie, I mean, why break something if you don't have to, why break something up like that if you don't have to? Stone Cold is going to be the guy. The fans pay to see him drink beer and give stunners, like you guys are saying. That's what they pay for right now.
If he turned and Rock left, you have this big void at the top with no real big baby face. Unless you just did Angle, but you'd be like the only one. Maybe Undertaker?
I don't know, but Angle... There may come a day where Angle can be that big drawing baby face, but if it comes to Austin or Angle for this summer, which is what we're talking about, I would go with Austin as far as the baby face.
Gotta be Austin.
Yeah. I mean, there's just something about him walking through. I mean, Angle doesn't have that overwhelming charisma yet. I mean, he probably will, and he's pretty damn close to it.
Yeah.
But Rock is not going to be doing a lot of house shows for a while now.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is like, you need that guy, and I wouldn't want to trust it to Undertaker because he's really banged up, and there's only so much that he can do. So from that standpoint, turning Austin's a risk. But I mean, I know why a lot of people want it because it's sort of like they've seen this Austin character for so many years, and they're ready for something different. Sometimes you don't want to rush. I mean, there's the whole deal with Goldberg. That's what Bischoff and Russo. The whole thing was, we've had Goldberg as a babyface for 2 straight years, and this business moves so fast. We've got to make him a heel. But it was so that was not the right move at the right time, and they recognized it within about 2 or 3 weeks.
You know what I think Angle needs to take that next step eventually is he needs that, just like Slaughter, what Iron Sheik was to Slaughter. And what Slaughter became to Hogan at one point. I think that you need that big foreign heel so he can play off his patriotism a little bit more as well to really become the top face.
That would work with Angle.
With Angle, right?
We got. Well, what are they going to do? Bring in Carellin? That's not the worst idea.
I guess we need to get bad relations with some company.
No, you know what though? If they actually, if Carellin wasn't so busy being a politician and brought him in and actually had him kill people, but then as a performer he wouldn't know what to do, But at least you could go
that would be the gimmick. You just be this big, scary, guy.
But then then they have to have the guts. The key is they have to have the guts to put him over everyone clean to make him so scary, and then have the people go, kind of like, this is reality, and Kurt Angle's really the best wrestler in the company, and Kurt Angle stands up for America against,
Wait, I know who it is.
What?
I know who it could be.
Who could it be?
Tiger Ali Singh. He's there.
We got to end the show on that one. John, I want to thank you very much for doing the show here, and I want to wish you the best of luck. And
guys, thanks for having me. It was great.
Yeah, it was really a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll get those UPW tapes up here and everywhere, and people can get a chance to see you and get a chance to see you start doing promos as well, because very few people have had a chance to see that.
Good.
Okay?
Well, you guys take care. Thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it.